Hey everybody, good morning. Hope you guys are doing good today. And time for another continuation of my bait modification secret giveaway tips. They seem to be going really good, man. I've been getting a lot of views on them, so it seems like a lot of people are responding pretty good to these. And I have a ton of modifications. I don't think, looking at baits over the years, I don't think there's a single bait out there that I fish out of the package. I do some type of modification to it, some more than others. But I don't like to just take something out of the package and use it. I like to put sort of my own twist on it. And today I'm going to show you another really good one. And this is probably the most detailed modification that I can give somebody, because I'm going to show you guys today how I modify and rig my Flukes or your soft plastic jerkbaits to basically land more fish on them and catch more fish. Because the problem you have with soft plastic jerkbaits like a Fluke is you have a lot of fish that they bite the things, but they don't get hooked on them. They bite the tails of them. They come up and swat at it and don't get it. And from what I found in fishing Flukes and soft plastic jerkbaits is the hookup to bite ratio is pretty low on it. The fish have to be pretty aggressive to get just the traditional Texas rig type setup on it. And I'm going to show you guys a tip today that will stop that, and you'll hook a lot of those fish at short strike on it. So this is going to be a really good one. So hey, before we get started, just a couple things. I want to thank everybody last night that joined Johnny and I for our live podcast. We've got a new YouTube channel out. It's called Fish the Moment Live, where we do our live podcasts and that type of stuff. So if you're subscribed to Fish the Moment, go try it and check out Fish the Moment Live YouTube channel and check out some of our live podcasts and that type of stuff. It's got a lot of good info on there. And on February 18th, we have our next virtual seminar on Fish the Moment. Johnny and I are both going to be doing a pre-spawn seminar. Going to be a lot of really good information there. So check it out, fishthemoment.com. So, okay, let's get into this detailed Fluke modification deal. A little bit of history about the Fluke. I'd like to give a little bit of history about it. The Fluke was a predecessor to the Sluggo. If you guys have been around fishing, very long, a lot of people remember the phenomena of the Sluggo back in the early 90s. It was really the first soft plastic jerkbait hit, and it won a lot of tournaments, caught a lot of big fish. I probably caught as many 7-pound bass on a Sluggo as about any bait category that I have back when that bait was really good. It was just incredible, and it still catches fish, but not like it did before. But what happened is the evolution of different soft plastic jerkbaits, like the Zoom Super Fluke that I'm going to talk about today, has sort of taken over the Sluggo a little bit. And the Fluke is a really good bait in a lot of different situations. It's a good bait in the spring. It's a good bait anytime fish are schooling, chasing shad. It's a great bait to pull fish away from cover around docks and laydowns. It's a really versatile bait. But like I said, the problem with the Fluke is they don't bite the thing aggressively enough a lot of times to get them on just the straight standard Texas rig setup. So I'm going to show you how to modify it to get a maximum amount of hookups. I'm going to start from the beginning, show you guys how I do this. Let's start out with two Zoom Super Flukes, the same kind. And the first thing we do is, like we do in all our soft plastics, is I'm going to rough it up. And get my glasses on here. It's sort of dark in the tackle room this morning. But I like to rough it up again, for the same reasons. It gives it a little bit different look. It gives it a little bit flatter finish. And it breaks up whatever salt is in your soft plastic jerkbait. And it makes the bait just a little bit more lifelike. It's not quite as stiff. And I think that's an advantage anytime you fish. So just with just a couple seconds of modification, you can see the difference there in the coloration. I've broken that salt up a little bit. So the next thing we have to do is we got to get our hook rig up set up. How going to rig this up eventually. So the first thing I want to do is I'm using a little bit heavier line than we did on the float and worm yesterday. Yesterday when I did the float and worm video, I was talking about spinning rod, 8-pound test, 10-pound test. When I'm fishing the Fluke, most of the time I'm fishing on a bait caster, like some type of a 7-foot rod, and I'm using 12 to 15-pound test line. So the first thing that we do on it is I do fish it on the barrel swivel again. So here again, we've got a fairly large barrel swivel, 12-pound test main leader, 12-pound test leader on the thing, or you can vary it up a little bit. So you can use a 12-pound test main line, a 15-pound test leader line. Just really depends on the type of cover you're fishing, the size of fish you're after, that type of stuff. So we're going to start out, where we've got our leader set up there. So the next thing we do is I'm going to tie the hook on. And the hook, believe it or not, this is a 2-aught Gamakatsu EWG flipping hook. And this hook is basically irrelevant in the bait because this is not what we're going to hook the fish with. The only thing that this provides, it provides a little bit of weight for the bait. It provides a place to attach what I'm going to show you guys you need to attach to it. And it also, it provides a keel for the bait because the offset hook there will allow this bait to basically dart and walk. So what I do is, I've already got the barrel swivel set up. So I'm going to start out, I'm just going to tie a regular Palomar knot. And you can use like a double uni knot or whatever knot you want to use. I've had good success with the Palomar because you're not setting the hook real hard, so you don't have a chance to break it, so it works really good. But the main thing about it is whatever knot that you tie, you need to have a pretty long tag into it. So see, this is my tag end to this bait right here. There's the end of it right there. I've got about a 12-inch tag line. Here's my main line. So this is what you have to leave on it right here. So what we're going to do on this whole thing, is I'm going to attach a treble hook to the tag line here. This is going to be the main part right here, the main line going to the barrel swivel. This is going to be a tag line with a treble hook attached to it. Now, this is where it gets tricky, and I'm not going to try to tie it right here because it's going to take me forever, because the reason this is tricky is the length on it. You have to have the treble hook tied off approximately this distance right here, which is, about, no more than 2 inches, 1.5 inches long like that. And in order to tie a treble with only 1.5 inches of line left about, it takes a lot of time to get that just right. And the way that I do this is most of the time I tie a granny knot on it. What I'll do is I'll just double the line on the treble hook and just tie an overhand knot about 5 or 6 times, and it's super strong. It doesn't break. And what happens when you tie the granny knot, it allows you to slip that treble hook to get to the exact distance. So I've already got one rigged up here, and I'm going to show you what the final product looks like. Looks like this right here. I've got a treble hook hanging down off of it like that. And the treble hook I use, it's a number 4 Gamakatsu G Finesse treble hook. You don't want to use too big of a treble hook. You don't need to, because if you use too big of a treble hook, it's going to kill the action of the bait, and this is going to have plenty of a bite gap on it. So here's my setup. I've got my barrel swivel right here with about a 12-inch leader to the hook and to the treble hook. Say the next thing I do is I'm going to rig the bait. And it's important as far as how far you come through. You don't want to come through like you traditionally do when you're hooking a fluke. You don't want the eye of the hook to penetrate inside of the plastic, and I'll show you why. So I'm basically just coming through just barely, just maybe 1/8 of an inch like that, just barely through it, coming back through. And when I come back through, I don't want to bury the eye of the hook in the plastic. I want to leave it out, because what this is going to do is this is going to allow me my line to come out and set smooth. So what I want to do, first thing, I want to hook the point of the hook back in the bait. And like I said, don't worry about coming out of the bait here, because this hook right here is irrelevant. This is not what we're hooking the fish with. So you basically put it back in the bait like that, and you want to also rig it down where the bait goes down. See how that bait goes down just a little bit like that? Even more, even more pronounced a little bit. You want this bait to not be straight. You want the tail pointing down like that a little bit. And what that does, it allows that fluke to dart really hard. If you have it completely level, see how the back's going down there? If it's completely level like that, it's going to tend to want to skip out of the water. And if you have it down where it's, sort of like that, it's going to dart under the water. So anyway, I got the point of the hook back in the plastic. I'm not even trying to penetrate the fish's mouth with this hook. This treble hook's going to do all the work for me. So the next thing I do is I bring it up and I come all the way back. I hook one point in the treble. So we've got setting up like that. You've got two backs coming out. You've got the treble buried in there like that. And guys, I'm telling you what, you will not miss them like this. The baits dart super hard. It works great just like this. And when those fish come up and get it, they get those two back hooks right in the roof of their mouth. Most every single time when they bite it, it's right in the roof of the mouth and you never lose them. This will get them if they're swatting, if they're short striking. And it's foolproof, man. It's just one of those secrets that I've just never, been able to share with, two people, with people too much. And I know a few guys that fish them like this. There's some pros that do fish them like this. And I think that, I've, read some stuff on it, but I think it's something a lot of people don't know. So that's my rig set up like that. Now to finish my modification, I go into my trusty spike it die. And what I like to do on all my soft plastics is I like to, or soft plastic jerk baits that is, I like to put a little chartreuse on the tail and maybe just a little down the side of the bait. So that's my finished product right there. So let me show you guys a little bit what this looks like versus just a traditional fluke setup here. Let me grab the hook out real quick. Again, it's all about, when we're talking about this stuff, it's all about attention to details. I mean, that's the main thing. We're looking, to, get a few more bites a day over what everybody else is getting. So here's how most people rig it, with just a traditional EWG hook. Show you the difference on it. I'm guessing probably, by far the majority of the people rig it like this. Probably, 90% of the tournament anglers, fishermen out there, is they rig a fluke like that. It's just a Texas rig type of setup like that. And notice the difference in my setup between the two. I've got, treble hooks ready to go. I've got it dyed a little bit there. You can see I've got it roughed up a little bit. Just a really fishy looking setup. Got my leader material there, ready to go. So anyway, that's the modification for today. I've had a lot of problems hooking bass with flukes over the years until I really, started using this particular setup with it. And like I said, the most difficult thing about this is the time it takes to rig it, because you have to get that distance between the eye of the hook and the treble hook just right. You don't want it too long because it'll bunch up some line. You don't want it too short because you want to set it back there, in the back third of the bait with it. So it just takes a little bit of time, a little bit of, after you, mess around with it for, half hour or so, you'll be able to get it where you can rig it pretty quick. And give it a try this spring. It works great. Bait works great in it. And it will, I can promise you right now, it will increase your hookups, well beyond what you've ever had before in it. And don't worry about the little hooks in it. Once they get it in the roof of their mouth, they're not coming off. So anyway, that's today's tip. Hope you guys are doing good out there. And we'll be back tomorrow with another tip. See you.